Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high level game of StarCraft 2. Today we're gonna have a look at a special game because this is one from the Korean ladder sent to me by the man here in the top right. It is of course a Reynor who's currently in Korea, qualified for the GSL, and he's fighting against a red Terran player here in the top left of Ghost River, who it is rumored to be Gumiho. I can't fact check this myself. I could, it would take a lot of work and I would still most likely be inaccurate. I believe this to be Gumiho though. I'm, let's say about 67% sure, something like that. 68% maybe even. So relatively sure that this is Gumiho. As he opened up with a double Barracks Reaper play here. Double Barracks Reaper used to be very popular, now it's just regular popular. And Gumiho is indeed one of the players that freaking loves this build. In particular, the 4 Reaper variant of it. And we do see him open up with those 4 Reapers here. He has lost one already, killed 1 worker too. Sorry for missing that. That is what it is. Fast Evo Chamber coming out for Reynor, who's deciding to stick on 2 bases. Difficult to get that third, as there's only a single location on this map where you can get that base. This Reaper decides to go into the main. He's gonna throw a nade and then piss back off downstairs. Third Rax is the follow-up. So very often with this particular build order, what we see out of Terran players is that fast third CC as well. 4, 5 Reapers into a fast triple CC. That's not gonna be the case here, as the triple Reapers might just get caught here actually. Grenade is gonna hit in a big way. Reapers enter the main, are pretending to go in, now wanting to jump back down, now back up, and now back down, and now, no, not back up anymore. Every single Reaper here is gonna fall. This was most definitely not worth it, as, ooh. Is Link actually gonna win it? Oh, Reynor, you greedy little monster. He's still gonna lose this Reaper Gumiho, that is. Just gonna refer to him as Gumiho rather than the secret barcode, because I do believe this to be Gumiho. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter so much. Not like these Lings could have done something revolutionary on the other side of the map. It's just a full wall. Perhaps could have attempted a snipe on this stim and attack lab, but I think the Marine count here is sufficient that it shouldn't be possible. I could be wrong on that, but I honestly don't believe I am. If there's like 30 Lings here, that's a different story. But there ain't 30 Lings here. This is what, like 12 Lings or so. It's just simply not going to be good enough. Carapace level 1 is halfway done as the Roach Warren also gets started here. Reynor is perhaps mentally preparing for some type of 3-Rex follow-up. That used to be common. Nowadays, really all we see is those triple CCs out of the Terran players majority of the time. I'm kind of shocked that that's not happening here. Combat Shield also starting right now, as the double medevac should begin relatively soon. We don't quite see the swap yet because the gas isn't available, so it's not going to be the end of the world. 11 roaches on the way. That is kind of surprising here to me. It's a phenomenal read out of Reynor, but surprising nonetheless. These are going to be defensive roaches as well. I don't think he's planning on moving across the map with these. He's seen a decent amount of Marines and is just preparing for a 2 medevac drop. That comes no matter what, but the follow-up here is going to be different because there's going to be simply way more Marines. There's going to be tanks as well behind it, as it feels like we're moving in towards a 2-base all-in. I think Reynor, by the way, currently rank 7 or 6 on the Korean ladder. It's about 200 games played, so MMR should have stabilized somewhat. The Koreans are definitely holding their own on their ladder. In the past, Reynor has managed to achieve rank 1, but not quite the case here yet, as these Marines coming in, the +1 carapace really helping out here. I think without that +1 carapace, this push might have just simply won the game. Now that's not going to be the case, as a lot of Marines actually do end up falling. This is off of 60 workers for Reynor, which is important to note. It's a good worker count. He's going to go into the range upgrade here as well. All he needs to do is to just try and survive. If he survives, he's going to be in a phenomenal spot. Third base, relatively delayed. Double medevacs now flying towards the bottom side of the map as well. As this layer has finished up, we're going to see a couple of drones heading into this gas, I think. We have, what, 6 gases for Reynor. Ooh, this is a nice drop. This is actually very neat. Lowering the amount of larva available by taking out this hatchery. Reynor, however, is just seeing the lack of a third base and knows that there's really no reason for him to sweat this. Like if there's a third already mining with 8 workers, losing that fourth is really bad. But in this case, I'd say, yeah, it sucks to lose it because, like I said, you're gonna have slightly less larva, but it's not like you're gonna want to build 10 drones right now anyway. Like the time of droning is over, and until that third base lands or shows the intention of landing, I don't think Reynor is gonna add a single extra drone here. Actually, maybe a single one, because currently he's at 65. More Roaches in production. A couple of Ravagers have already been morphed as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we have 1 Ravager. Kind of preemptively there. Armory is about to finish up, and now we're going to see this command center go towards the low ground. 4cc starts instantly as well. Gumiho is not stopping. This is all just going to get scouted. And Reynor, yep, look at that. Look at that instant response. He sees, he reacts. Quick fingers, quick brain. As he gets the infestation pit, gets the second evo chamber. He's probably going to add a bunch more drones here as well. So that fourth base is 85% done. I wouldn't even mind seeing a 5th being taken down here. Maybe, I'd say down here. This is the 5th base location in my mind at least. And then just straight up heading into Hive, Vipers, and we're getting melee upgrades, which makes a lot of sense. Reynor is a player that much prefers playing with a melee-based army consisting of Lings, Banelings, rather than these heavy Roach armies. If this was Dark, I wouldn't be completely surprised to see something along the lines of a, like a Hydra then going down and then followed up by a Lurker then, adding in some early Infestors as well. We actually do see an Infestor here on the way. That is interesting. It's kind of a transition tool, these Infestors, saying, hey, I'm not entirely sure what you're doing, so I'm just going to sprinkle in 1 or 2 Infestors. That's going to keep me very safe against potential Marine tank push-outs. Good transfuses going down here as well. Creep spread in the middle is good. On the bottom side is definitely lacking, as Roaches will clean up this triple drop. Absolutely no problem. 121 supply on the side of Gumiho versus 182 on the side of Reynor. No way. Yeah, no way. Good attempt, though. I mean, you lose nothing in trying, right? It's not like it costs energy. It's just a cooldown spell, so it's actually quite neat. No cost there whatsoever. As Baneling speed does start, Hive is about to finish up. So we're heading into the late stages of the mid-game, or the early stages of the late game. Feels like Reynor is reaching that late game a little bit quicker than his opponent. 83 workers. A little bit of a bank build up here as well. Barrow now being researched, as we have an Ultralisk Cavern coming in. Creep is about to reach his opponent's third as well. More tanks sieging up. Gumiho planning on playing a passive game. That's completely okay. I'm down with that. 3 mines at a time. E-base getting pooped on. That's fine. Sensor tower, 6 base. Now, this map, Ghost River, is one of these weird new maps where we only have 6 bases total. And one of the things that I generally dislike on this map, or just in maps in general, what I generally dislike, is when a map has a lack of neutral bases. So imagine there was a base over here on the top side that forces a turtling player to expand more aggressively, because there's this kind of neutral base that either player can take, and if you don't have map control, the other dude will take it. But because this is a base where you pretty much have a predefined set of bases that you can take, and this base is completely unrealistic for Zerg to take, and so is this one, to be quite honest. So if you're going into a full-on late game scenario, it's just going to be 6 base versus 6 base, and as majority of the time, the Terran player will trade better in the late game. These maps tend to be better for Terran, and it does invite this type of campy play. Infestor sneaking in from the left side. He's probably trying to get a Fungal on here. This turret is just... This turret can see 2 here, probably. Like right here. I said you don't have vision rings on turrets. That would be nice. Yeah, it's gonna be to like right here. He's just barely missing this Infestor. Reynor not aware of this turret, by the way. The moment he goes in, mine plus tank, it's gonna be the end of that. I haven't seen a lot of fights yet this game. Overall resources lost is Well, about 5k total, both players combined. It's very little in a 12-minute game. Reynor already has the bank. As well as this Infestor is going to get, oh my god, 2 massive Fungals. Gumiho eats both of them. It's the hungriest man in town currently. Holy crap. Resources lost jumped up on both sides. That's good for Reynor though. As at the same time he attempted a drop into the natural, but Vikings plus turrets are going to push this away. And get a couple of these overlords perhaps as well. Ultras now being produced. Do we have a single ghost out on the map yet? No. There are 0 ghosts. We have 6 tanks. And then just a bunch of bio. Which honestly isn't that scary of an army. Reynor is trying to open up the natural as well. Taking out these rocks. We're going to have a massive drop here on top of these roaches though. They weren't so secure after all. This immediately triggers Reynor to try and do something here on the bottom side. But this mine gets 18 kills as a result. Still going to have this chasing motion out of Gumiho and picks off a lot of forces here. And yeah, that is -2, -3k in a couple of seconds there for Reynor. Being a bit wasteful there with the resources. Yes, Gumiho doesn't feel any pressure to expand. He doesn't feel any pressure whatsoever. He knows that the maximum amount of bases of his opponent is going to be 6. And he's playing like it as well. He is playing like it. Oh, this is the same mine again. Is it going to get a big fat hit? No. It's going to get a single kill. That's about it. As this mine is going to die to a bile right now. Reynor trying to take out these rocks. This is also a difficult base to attack into, by the way. Same with this bottom base. Relatively tight ramp. A high ground defensively. Like, these are not positions that are easy to engage in. If a 360 surround was possible, I'd say, hey, you know, that's going to be rough for the Terran later on. But here, really, 1-2 tanks over here, 1-2 tanks over here, and then the Ghost, they can roam pretty freely. Sensor towers covering majority of the map already, or at least majority of the map that Gumiho cares about, because he doesn't care about what's happening on the other side. The only thing Gumiho needs to do is occasionally try and scan and figure out where the Spire is. If you know where the Spire is, you know when the Greater Spire is going to start and when a potential Brute Lord transition is coming in. As Gumiho indeed is just kind of leapfrogging forward here. His priority is going to be the forward base. Once he kind of establishes that, and that bottom base is going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Snipes going down on the Overseer will not fall. The scan will reveal the link burrowed under the 5th base. We have 2 orbital commands over here next to the planetary. You have 2 more command centers here towards the bottom side as well. Reynor tries to come in with an attack from 3 sides right now. We need to use the full zoom out to cover this entire fight. There are no infestors to help out. And as a result, Gumiho is simply just going to crush this fight. He hardly lost anything. Lost a couple of units. This base still alive as well. Got the cancel off. Infestor now trying to move in position, perhaps for the second try. Can we get a Fungal? Oh, that's a neat Fungal. Biles here, perhaps connecting as well. Not quite. Ultralisk will get cleaned up, though. The Marauder count is phenomenal. As Mules will fall. These Ghosts and Marauders will end up dying as well. Burrowed Ultralisk, and he saves it. Honestly, Reynor's control in this game has just been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But I am not sure if that is just going to be enough. We have another attack here coming in. Ravager gets a single hit there on the Liberator. Is this side then maybe more vulnerable? Is this something we should be looking into? We have a tank here. We're going to have a couple more tanks rolling forward. The problem is that everything is so close by. So even a fat run by in towards the natural, I mean, it's just going to be difficult. Oh my god, these mine hits are huge. So this was 13, this was 1, and this was 10. And all of that together, you get 24 link kills. And these mines will just reset, of course. That's the real issue. Oh, this one also got a lot of kills. Look at that, 12 kills here total already. These mines doing God's work, and kind of disappointed here in Reynor that he hasn't managed to do anything with it. He's now gonna attempt a massive link drop in towards... I actually would much prefer if he goes here rather than in towards the natural. Just go over here. This would be such a good location. Just drop over the depots so you can get to the tanks. And once you get the tanks, this area is pretty much free. You don't even need that many. He's going to go with absolutely everything. That's going to be quite tricky. You get such a large warning as well. Look at this. Sensor tower sees it. You have like half an hour to respond to this. And he's just going to send back like what? 7-8 ghosts? A decent army split and you should be fine. Can lift all the depots as well. Tank over here is actually dealing a lot of damage. I think this attack could have been set up much, much better here. And I really believe that something, like it needs to include taking out these tanks on the high ground. And then if you take out these rocks, all of a sudden this portion of the map is much more opened up. At the same time, ooh, we had an attack over here. I'm sorry for missing that, but Reynor actually kind of bursting through. It's gonna deal quite a bit of damage. We'll end up losing a lot of resources as well. It's 14k to 23. Gets burrowed links in multiple locations. One of those locations not being scanned quite yet. Could be helpful later on. Reynor now managing kind of to force a two-side defense out of Gumiho, which is exactly what you want. Oh, these bad boys force another scan out, but I think we have plenty of scans with 6 orbitals around. 2 more on the way, or 2 potential new orbitals on the way. 17 banelings coming as the Brute Lord transition is perhaps starting here. Hasn't been scouted. We haven't seen a single scouting scan yet. Here we go again, once more. Just trying to hit that same spot. I really think this tank is a key factor here in this game. Absolutely a key factor in this game, as well as this tank. Like these tanks, they defend this entire natural kind of areas. Here, Reynor is trying to pick off the reinforcing units that wanted to go to the natural. What a lovely move. Saying, hey, you want to probably keep some units at the third, and now Gumiho has to send everything over. We're going to have a rotation coming down in towards this base. There is no anti-air though, and that's a problem. All we're going to have is Parasitic Bomb, no Corruptors, no nothing, as this is going to get cleaned up by the Hellbat plus tank combination. And once again, Gumiho with honestly pretty decent trades. He's already going in towards the 6th base. Reynor is trying to force something that doesn't seem to be capable of being forced. It doesn't feel like we can force this at all. Quite the contrary. You can't force it. And I think Reynor also agrees with that. And as a result now, is going to transition into Corruptors. I hope that is for Brute Lords. Although with these upgrades, that seems unlikely. He doesn't have any upgrades for the Brutes. Of course, the Broodlings will have the melee upgrades, but it's just hard to imagine for me how Reynor's gonna use these Corruptors right now. That's a lot of dead supply. Once again, there's so many freaking dudes here. I mean, Vikings honestly should just be in the dead space here. That's an absolute no-brainer. Kind of want to bait this in at this point and snipe Overlords. Can kill a lot of supply there. Vikings moving in forward. Do we have any ship weapon upgrades? We have 1. Queen over here is gonna try and keep this alive. At the same time here on the bottom side, it looks like Reynor is getting pushed back actually a little bit. You know what you could do here? Get like a planetary and then another planetary. And then a planetary here. And then a planetary here. Just cut the map in half with planetaries. I think that would be sick. Yeah, see, I think this is where you want to hit. This is such a difficult to hold location because this is your reinforcement path as well, right? Links now getting in are going to get a lot of worker kills. We get a burrow as well. Refineries being taken out. This will still cost money for Reynor, but it forces a pretty significant response, which is also just by itself important. Planetaries everywhere. Sensor tower being taken out though. A couple more turrets could fall. These links are now still being controlled. Reynor so solid that this is just gonna right click these on the couple of turrets. You have this bad boy still going ham as well. And he's trying to do stuff. The problem is... Actually, is there a problem? Do we have enough anti-air here? What's the Thor count? 0. That is a very low amount of Thors here. That is a very low amount of Thors. And now we're gonna get the scan on the Brutes. There's 12 Brutes. What's the response gonna be? You're practically maxed. We have 3 factories with tech labs. Never mind, we have 4 factories with tech labs. Can only build a single Thor. And we immediately see Gumiho move out on the map, trying to clear some of these creep tumors. Oi, 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 oi. Oi, 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 oi. 2 starports as well being thrown down. Ship weapons coming out. It's so hard though for Reynor to attack here. Because this army is out on the map, right? That's gonna make matters much more difficult. I do feel like he missed a bit of a timing window though. He missed a bit of a timing window. Of course, he wasn't aware of the fact that a timing window existed. But it definitely did exist. And it perhaps still does. We have a Brute Lord count of what? 11 plus 4, 15. 18 Ghost, 1 Thor, 3 Vikings. That means that your defense is completely reliant here on Ghost. And Ghost, they can get fungled, they can get attacked, and it cancels the snipes. I think Reynor is playing this out too carefully. And I think it should be... Like, if... This is gonna be the best time. Let's look at it like this, okay? In the entire game, this is the timing where Gumiho will be the least prepared for this Brute Lord attack. And thus, you'd figure you're also gonna get the best trades in the entire game right at this moment. From here on out, the trade should become worse, unless you believe that these upgrades are very important. Which I think they are, but I believe the element of surprise is also useful here. And that element is quickly running out. It's gonna try pushing forward into this base. Actually, maybe if you get really fast Brute Lords, you can set up this base as a Zerg. Imagine that. It's Infestor Brute Lord here, then Spores as well, within pushing distance of a planetary. The knife cuts both ways, you know? Everything is close by for the Terran, but it also means that if Zerg gets this setup, that would be pretty sick actually. You're gonna get a Parasitic Bomb out here. Viper's out of energy. We still have a lot of Fungals available. I feel like this entire game I'm just zoomed out because the action is at such a big scale often. You're gonna have a couple of trades here. And these are good trades for Reynor, surely. It's not losing anything. These are not trades. These are steals. It's taking away units. Grim Reaper Reynor going at it. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Neural Parasite. 95% done. Here we go once more. Fungal's gonna connect with 2 tanks. That's -1 tank, perhaps -2. Yep, that's -2. Reynor now moving towards the top side. I feel like these ultras need to piss off though. They're pointless, useless supply that we don't want to have anymore. But they're also pretty expensive, so you don't just want to throw them into your opponent. You know? It's always a difficult situation when that happens. Reynor, however, managing to slowly but surely push on forward with his Spore Wall. And there's a couple of key positions here. This is a high ground that I wouldn't mind if Reynor gets either. If Reynor manages to establish that high ground, that could be huge. Oh, he's not gonna get a kill there on the Ghost. Ghost manages to snipe. I feel like that was in such close range. Let's take a look at the vision that Reynor actually has. It's always important to keep in mind what players can see rather than what we can see. And you can see how little vision Zerg has. This is one of the big problems for Zerg players worldwide, is that Terran full vision always of the Zerg army. They have the sensor tower so they can see movement getting closer, and then when necessary they can always scan. It makes it much easier to set up these fights in the way that they want. For the Zerg, it becomes very, very difficult. Like this Infestor is basically fungling into the dark. You can't quite see what's kicking off. I really believe that this area is key for Reynor, and I think he should be trying to creep towards that area. Like, literally, get some creep over there. Try and get the Spore Crawlers on that high ground. It cuts off reinforcements towards the main army. Might make it difficult. This is a lot of Thors here that are not taking the trade that they want. At the same time, Fungal's connecting with all of these Ghosts. Tanks unsieging as the Brute Lords dishing out so much freaking damage. Brilliant trade here out of Reynor. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. He's building 50 new links. Brute Lord count currently at 18. Do we want that number to still grow? I think we might. Doesn't have any armor upgrades yet, by the way. No second Spire inside either. Reynor is taking it slow, but I'm not sure if you want to be taking it slower. As he pulls in 1 and 2 of these Liberators, both of them will end up falling. The tanks are... Yeah, this is an issue, right? You want to pull in these tanks, but you can't. So now we're going to get a move in forward here with some Brutes. He's going to connect with the Ghost. Oh, this is potential for a fight, by the way. So many links back here. Could try and start running forward, maybe coming with a flank from the back, and then go for it. If there's any type of anti-air here, like these Liberators are just going to end up falling. Reynor once again wants to be active. It's going to send these links plus single Ultra in. What is the Ghost count? It's 3. That's very little, actually. Is this a full wall? No, it's not. I think getting a planetary here would be great for our good friend Gumiho, by the way. It's running out of gas. Look at that. He's actually losing a lot of gas, isn't he? So is Reynor, I guess. Both players is losing a lot of resources. Army value in favor of the Italian Zerg. It's getting his +1 carapace. More brutes, gonna go up to 19. More spores. How much gas do we still have remaining? 1700 plus 800. That's 25. And here we have 22. Oh, wow. These gases, that's another 1,000. So that's what, 25, 22, 47. This is about what, like 800 or so. So 5,500 gas. Oh my god, you can... Another 1k here. I lost track of the count. I think it's like 6k. 6k gas left. Reynor has 800 here. About 1,200 there. And then it's finito. It's like 6k to 2k. And the bank, the gas bank difference is actually very close. I think it's all gonna come down to gas here. Because these units are so gas heavy. So, although in the resources lost, we see a sizable lead for Gumiho. Oh, what's he doing here? You can't make this up. No, not the links. You don't go in here. Take out this base, then we go home, maybe? Doesn't have any anti-air really to deal with these corruptors. Or sorry, with these liberators. I think corruptors would be huge. What the hell is this move? This is a move and a half. Links are gonna run for the counterattack, which I think is a brilliant call. Absolutely, yes. Spores now coming on over. We have these barracks going down. We have these orbitals potentially in trouble. Gumiho here got impatient, it feels like, or realized that his fights weren't going so well. He's just building pure Thor, by the way. Kind of giving up here on the ghost count as Viper's now going to get taken out by these Thors. Blinding Cloud does hit, but the Thors just move away from the green cloud. Brute Lord count still currently at 21. Thors being picked up. No recall available because this is Terran, not Protoss. A couple of Ghosts with this Snipes will take out another Brute Lord. 20 Brutes versus 9 Thors. Are all those Thors over here? I count 1, 2, 7. 1 in the medevac. So 8 Thors in this army currently. We have a Neural Parasite on a Liberator. It's gonna get blasted by these Thors. Main base has been occupied though by the Dominion forces. Greater Spire being taken out as well as the bank. Definitely in favor of Reynor, but losing his entire tech is going to hurt. And his main base is now, yeah, it's gone. It's not his anymore. It's been taken over. It's been colonized by this Terran. Do we have abducts available? I think we do. That's going to be a Thor and a Liberator. That is a pretty big deal. Huge fungal. Is that a microbial shroud that he cast? Or is it how a fungal looks? No, I guess that's just what a fungal looks like. Oh my god, he had like 5 fungals in a row. Everything was fungaled for so long that I thought it was a microbial shroud, which is a spell that is not very useful to cast on the opponent. I don't think it works on enemy units, actually. These fights have been good, though, here for Reynor. And I think it's key that he doesn't let this army escape. These bases are mined out. This is mined out. This is mined out. Actually still have gas mining here. So this could be important. Maybe. Perhaps. Problem here for Reynor is the complete lack of his tech. He's gonna need to rebuild that, of course, still. How much gas is still left over here? Still have 1k here. This is, well, like 600 as well. Overall, good transactions, I think, for Reynor when it comes to the gas. Yeah, Reynor a bit up in gas, and that's really all that matters. I think that's all that's going to matter. I really do believe so. Viking count now growing. I love that, by the way, out of Gumiho. Oh, I love this even more. Look at that. He's going to manage to elevate her out of here. Reynor completely unaware of that. Has been bamboozled. Has been bamboozled. When's he gonna figure it out? Single link being sent in as Reynor now knows that Houdini managed to escape once more. Spire on the way, Ultralisk Cavern. I feel like an Ultralisk Cavern at this point is fairly unnecessary. Fairly unnecessary. And I think Reynor's main focus should be denying gas mining here. If you can stop these 1500 Vespine gases from being mined, that would be huge. Oh, Neural's getting into position. Gets a Thor here. Could target the other low. Thor isn't quite doing that. Neural Parasite Infestor gets taken out. Brute Lord count at, what are we at? 19. But this isn't even a max army out of Reynor. Reynor is not maxed currently. He's a lot of things, but maxed is not one of them. He's waiting for that spire to finish, but he's still going to need to build overlords as well. Then he'll need to wait for... Is he actually going to get... I'm wondering now. Is he going to get a greater spire, or is he just going to get corrupted? He's adding an ultralisk, which I don't like personally. I feel like these ultras have not been useful at all here. I think a higher Broodlord count or adding in corruptors is really what we need in life. Do we still have any amount of tanks? We have a single tank here. Can of course be used to take out these spores. Vikings just patrolling. Gas income still remains good here for our Terran player. But there's still gas in here as well. Like 600 gas. What the hell? That's messed up. That's actually messed up. Gas lost within 25 gas of one another after 32 minutes of playing. That is very crazy. Corruptor count. It's gonna come in with the max out. Here comes the boost in. The suicide kamikaze ghost with some neat EMPs here on practically every single infestor. There's no fungals left remaining. Parasitic bomb helps out. Here comes a flank though with a lot of these lings. A lot of the banelings, ultras as well. Neural parasites getting off here. Two Thors fighting for the Zerg as the Broodlords in the back being forced away by these Vikings. There's really no corruptor count whatsoever to speak of. I do believe that all of these are going to end up falling. What an odd situation we find ourselves in though, where the ground army remains alive and the air army, I mean these brutes are gonzo. Absolutely gonzo. Just having more spores here would have done so much for Reynor. But now he's lost everything air. Game hasn't ended quite yet. We see a landing of the Vikings. Liberators helping out. Look at these neurals. Look at these neurals. That is beautiful. As these two... Is the single spore gonna be enough? I think the answer is simply no. And indeed, these libs will survive. And now so many Vikings, so many Liberators. Still a couple of Thors as well. Mineral count is practically gone here for, well, honestly, both players. Still have some patches remaining. Actually, we have a lot of patches remaining for Gumiho. Gumiho can still mine a lot of crap. Even in the natural. Even in the main. There's like 2-3k minerals still just waiting for Gumiho to mine it. I don't understand why he's pushing in. He's the one that's still mining. He should be waiting. He should be relaxing. Because his army is going to grow and his opponent's army is not going to grow at all. Still running around here with a bunch of landed Vikings. Maybe he believes he can't properly leave. Which he might be right about, actually. But he has so many scans. He sees what his opponent has. It's all ground. Yeah, there we go. We're going to get that pickup. As snipes here on the spores as well. Reynor on Viper Ultralisk. 2 infestors. Is that all there is? 2 infestors, 7 ultras, 4 Vipers. And like I said, Gumiho is not in a rush right now. Gumiho is not in a rush. This base is... this has a crazy amount of minerals. This is like 2k by itself. 2k minerals here. There's almost 500 in here. There's 500 in here. There's like 1k here. It's actually 4k. It's closer to 4k. Maybe even 5k. I think it's like 5,000. 5,000 minerals. And he could just max out on Marauders at this point. And if he has the gas, which he also has. Still 300 gas. Still have 400 gas. Still have 600 gas. I mean, Gumiho he just needs to wait. Sit back, relax, and really just do nothing. And he's doing a fantastic job at that. We have some long distance mining on this patch. We have some patches over here as well. Yeah. 60 minerals total. 60 over here as well. Could make another pair of Zerglings out of that. Raven now on the way, which I think fantastic call. It's the only way that Gumiho is losing is to burrowed infestors. You have a lot of scans here. He's just continuously scanning this army, isn't he? And you don't have to. You can use it for mules, but it is safe, I guess. Absolutely. Now we have some mining going on over here. It's gonna abandon this location just for a tiny tad. New tank on the way. Nothing's happening. I think I'm just gonna to exit here for a little bit. Because they don't see a way for Reynor to win this either. I don't see a way for Reynor to win this. And it doesn't seem like Reynor understands that. So I'm afraid what's gonna happen here is that the Gumiho is practically just gonna max out and then just walk all over Reynor. And we were just sitting there looking at that for 7 minutes. That's the beauty of replays. We increase the speed. Look at that interference matrix. Actually works on infestors. I didn't know it did for a long time, but it does. He's actually gonna mind them as well. He's gonna mind these bad boys. Oh, that's so funny. That is so funny. Gonna have a helmet drop though. The drone massacre. These bad boys also gonna fall. Yep, there we go. There's really hardly any anti-air. 5 Vipers. We have no brutes, so you can never attack into anything. I think Reynor is coping as hard as I've ever seen him cope. There's a lot of cope in here. Most definitely a lot of cope. And now Gumiho he's nearing completion now. Oh, let's start moving out on the map. Back to the 1-time speed. Raven in the army. And anti-armor here is going to be huge. Vikings have a lot of damage output. People underestimate that. I think you should actually land everything here. Except maybe like 2 Vikings. As like a deterrent. A Viper deterrent. But like, the main issue is the ground force, right? It's not like these Vipers are going to kill anything on the ground. I mean, there's no way that Reynor wins this fight anyway, so it really is. It's fairly irrelevant. This is some serious scope. Another scan coming in forward. Thor's being split off to deal with these spores. Reynor fighting till the last unit. The last units that he has. Liberators, good siege up. And you can also just take out every single building. This feels like this mission where the Dead of Night, I think it's called, in the campaign. Or in co-op. Where you need to defend the middle and then you push out to clear the infested areas. And then at some point you're so far ahead you can't lose anymore. And that's where Gumiho is right now. Yeah, this is going to be a fight. It's going to be a disaster here for Reynor. Overlords don't deal damage. Anti-armor is mainly on the Terran units, but it doesn't really matter. 3 supply for Reynor. GG gets called. That's gonna be it. Nice little game though. Yeah. I think the main problem was him losing all these Brute Lords down here for free. And if he keeps the Brutes, if he has enough anti-air, if he has like some Spores there, or some Fungalers and some Vipers, like this game ends up being very, very different, I think. Because there were so many Brute Lords remaining. That fight was so good for Reynor. But yeah, in the end, not quite good enough. Resources lost heavily in favor of the Terran as well. And that, my dear friends, is going to be it for me today. How can an army value be negative? I don't know, but it's the first time ever. All right, it's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy this. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.